Sonic Universe issue 23. Bean talks too much and says that this could be the start of a beautiful friendship, implying they've never actually worked together until now, but then shows an attention whore tendency at being ignored. Fang reminds him that he's focusing on invading a blimp with the Marvelous Queen. Rouge naturally lamentates how stupid it is that they've all just been standing there instead of going after Team Hooligan. And Omega says that he's afraid of hurting Cream and Cheese as he has them in his grip, with Cream appreciating his concern. Amy gets up and tells everyone to get going, and Omega says that Cream's too cute to kill, with Amy naturally not wanting to tell her what he meant by his big word. After Amy naturally lampshades furiously that Shadow is a hero and shouldn't be so apathetic to Blaze's world, Amy and Rouge share a motorcycle, Shadow runs alongside them, Blaze flies with them, and Omega is conveniently able to form into a vehicle of his own all of a sudden, which Cream and Cheese ride in cutely. At least he's a robot, so it makes sense that he'd be modified to do that. Omega finds it annoying that Cream calls him comfy, and it makes sense since he's proud of his reputation as a killer robot and he's clearly not comfy at all. Amy naturally asks why Shadow has a bike at all since he's so fast, and Shadow actually explains this, saying the gun protocol requires one troop transport for each squad. That doesn't explain why he rode a motorcycle in Shadow the Hedgehog, but whatever. Rouge says teasingly that he painted and maintained it himself, and Shadow says with a sweet smile that he really likes that bike, which is pretty charming. Rouge complains that they can't go that fast with this terrain, and Blaze destroys the forest around them to help out, with Amy feeling bad because of her tree huggerness, while Omega hilariously says, "What? She left trees standing?" Which made me giggle. Finally, Shadow apologizes to Blaze. Blaze then explains exactly what will happen to our world without the Soul Emeralds, explaining that for no reason, the oceans will boil, the islands will sink, and the sky will somehow fall. I guess an evil wizard put a curse on the world a long time ago, making it dependent on those emeralds. When Shadow says in spite of this that his mission and his world come first, Blaze asks him why he's trying so hard to apologize then. Bean points out that the blimp is dropping another missile, and the Marvelous Queen sends them off it with an explosion, with Fang complaining about birds and saying that he stole it fair and square. So the Marvelous Queen is Babylon technology? At least we finally get an explanation for it. Fang holds up the Soul Emerald with a shield, saying that if they shoot him with lasers, they'll destroy the emerald too, and it gets stolen from him by Jet, who has an airboard like the rest of his friends with him. Wave says that her sensors were right after all, and Jet reluctantly admits that she did a good job. Then Bean hugs him, calling him Jettison, and assumes that Wave is his wife, and Storm is also related to him. Storm questions why the Battle Lord didn't take him out. In the middle of the distraction, Fangtails bark to pull the somehow still not destroyed Marvelous Queen out of the ground, and gets his rifle out of it. He then curses out Bean when he rides along the airboard with Jet, and gets knocked off it onto Storm's airboard. Bean then gets in the way of Fang as Jet has the gem, and he takes off, thanking them for doing the work for him. As the Marvelous Queen still rides just fine, Fang shoots at Jet's Soul Emerald, and suddenly becomes surrounded with fire, with Blaze sitting down in pain, saying that she felt something react with it. It's nice to see the Soul Emeralds have different lore and rules to them like this. Shadow helps Blaze up, and she says she can suddenly, just now, sense its location, and he picks her up as she looks confused. Jet realizes that since the Soul Emerald still hasn't been destroyed, he has nothing to lose if he tells the autopilot of his airship to bombard everything, getting rid of his enemies while the gem stays there. When Bean notices all those missiles coming at him, he moves his arm around like a conductor, and they explode above him with him not being surprised at all, talking as if they were making music. The Babylons are naturally stunned at seeing Bean explode them telekinetically like that. At least he has some magical power then, but we'll never see him do this again. And before Fang can go to attack them, some fire happens between the two teams as Omega shoots at them, with Shadow holding Blaze in his arms. It's a shame these two live in separate worlds and can't date or anything, because Blaze is basically a female Shadow. You couldn't get any more compatible than that. The problem is, Shadow and Blaze hate basically everyone, so they're incompatible with everyone, antisocials and all. Fortunately for the heroes, talking is a free action, as they're able to do a lot of talking about how they're going to fight the villains without being attacked. Rouge even has the time to huddle with Team Dark and says that they'll stomp the girls while they're overwhelmed and leave her gem. Shadow calls her out on betraying them twice in one day, and when Rouge reminds him of the mission, he reluctantly sides with his friends instead of refusing. Boy, don't put this guy in a gang. The story ends with the three teams all rushing at each other. This issue was by Ian Flynn. The arc's still not over yet? It's alright, but I expected it to end by 3 issues. I mean, this is a pretty basic plot. This is not complicated by any means. Team Rose and Team Dark fight over a Soul Emerald. Then they all fight Team Babylon and Team Hooligan. The end. I heard this arc being praised, this is the story arc you want to read if you want to get into the comic. But it really feels like just another couple issues of the comic to me. It's about Team Babylon going after Fang and his emerald as it's revealed that the Marvelous Queen was stolen from them all along. It's finally explained, that's good. And it's also good that Blaze explains more of how exactly her world will die without the emeralds, although again, why hasn't that happened already? Amy talks Team Dark into working together with her to go after Team Hooligan, and eventually they catch up with them despite Blaze's exhaustion at some points. The only big problem I have is that people somehow had a chance to talk to their teammates in private instead of Team Hooligan and Babylon immediately starting the fight, like you would think that evil criminals would do, since why wouldn't they play dirty like that? There were a few charming, light-hearted moments, mainly involving Omega and his reaction to Cream and Blaze's forest fire. I guess she can control fire so well that she keeps it from spreading to the entire forest afterwards.